or lesson 10 of for and against parents are too permissive with their children nowadays. Okay, please.
Okay. Few people would defend the Victorian attitude to children, but if they were a parent in those days, at least you knew where you stood. Children were to be seen and not heard.
All right.
Here, heard.
Heard. Yes. Few people. Yeah, it means actually insufficient number of, because few in comparison to a few, it is rather negative. So insufficient number would defend the Victorian attitude to children. Explain about that Victorian era or age, and what were some of the marked specifications of that era. Do you know?
In the past, you mean? Yeah.
Victorian age. It means around 200 years ago. It refers to that period.
Oh.
Yeah.
I think at that time children were really belittled.
Belittled? No.
They were not that important. Parents didn't pay enough attention to them.
Yeah, they were not being pampered or babied, you know, taken care of or spoiled, as we have the case these days. Children are rather spoiled these days. And the writer, the author, that is L.G. Alexander, just challenges some psychologists, such as Freud, you know, as we will read it, cover that part. But if you were a parent in those days, at least you knew where you stood. It means like everything was clear, your position was clarified, and children were to be seen and not heard. That is so implicit. What is meant by that? Children were to be seen and not heard.
It means that others and parents saw children, and they realized that what was happening around the children, but they didn't pay enough attention, and they didn't take action towards, for example, the problem. They didn't try to pamper the children, as you said.
Yeah. You know, these days children are heard because they give commands. Do this, do that, and poor parents have to obey. So they are heard these days, and they are not seen, you know, because when they are seen, it means that they are controlled and they have to obey. So the situation has reversed these days. You see, in the past they were, let's say, seen. It means they were controlled or manipulated, but they were not heard. It means that actually they did not just give orders. See? Okay. Please.
Freud and company did away with all that, and parents have been bewildered ever since.
Freud and his followers did away with means do away with means cancel, eradicate, abolish. All that refers to the previous situation in which the children were more obedient. So that refers to that. See?
Oh, at that time, yeah?
No. That, it says in this sentence, company did away with all that. That refers to the previous situation in, for example, in the Victorian age, in which children were more submissive.
Yeah.
Okay. They were seen and not heard. And parents have been bewildered or confused ever since. Ever since refers to
Since that time.
since which time?
Uh, Victorian time.
No, Freud.
Oh, okay.
From the
Freud.
existence of Freud, yes. When they just showed up, when they appeared, they make a mess. There was a big change before Freud, for example, and after Freud. And Freud and his company actually are responsible for that.
The child's happiness is all important, the psychologists say, but what about the parents' happiness?
This is something that is
Parents,
taken for granted,
yeah.
Yeah. So, yes.
Parents suffer constantly from fear and guilt, while the children gaily romp about, pulling the place apart.
Gaily, you said?
Gaily, yes.
Yes, gaily means very happily and
Cheerfully.
yeah, cheerfully. Romp about means
Play,
noisy way.
yeah.
hmm Pulling the place apart, making a mess, and
Yeah.
so parents suffer constantly, always, incessantly from fear and guilt, while their children gaily, happily romp about, pulling the place apart. Yes.
A good old-fashioned spanking is out of the question. No modern child rearing manual would permit such uh, barbarity.
Right. So a good old-fashioned, obsolete spanking, that corporal punishment, spanking,
Yeah.
corporal means physical, is out of the question. It means that it is no more legitimate here, you can say. No modern
Yeah.
child rearing or raising manual would permit, you said permit such barbarity or violence or uncivilized behavior.
The trouble is you are not allowed even to shout.
So no criticism is welcome.
Yeah. Who knows what deep psychological wounds you might inflict?
Psychological.
Psychological. Okay.
Who knows what deep psychological wounds or trauma you might inflict or cause or actually receive from that. Okay,
Yeah.
please.
The poor child may never recover from dreadful traumatic experience.
The poor child may never recover from or be able to manage it afterwards. The dreadful traumatic experience that could cause a PTSD. Do you remember post-traumatic stress disorder? If it is so extreme, traumatic, Okay.
And sorry, in the previous sentence, inflict is an intransitive verb. Inflict.
Yes, and the object of that is wounds.
So it's transitive, yeah?
Transitive, yeah. I meant that, yeah. So it has an object, yeah. It is transitive.
Okay, thank you. And so it is that parents bend over backwards to avoid giving their children complexes which 100 years ago hadn't even been heard of.
Right. So it is that parents bend over backwards means
To attempt to strive doing something.
yes, give it your best shot. Try your heart, try your best, do your best to avoid giving their children complexes which 100 years ago hadn't even been heard of. That refers to different types of complexes or psychological problems. We have inferiority complex and others. Okay.
Certainly, a child needs love and a lot of it. But the excessive permissiveness of modern parents is surely doing more harm than good.
Right. So let me see.
Psychologists have succeeded in undermining parents' confidence in their own authority.
So psychologists have succeeded in undermining means here
Belittling.
Belittling or reducing or weakening their confidence in their own authority.
And it hasn't taken children long to get wind of the fact.
Yeah, it means
To find out something secret or surreptitious.
yes, to comprehend something as a factual piece of evidence. Okay.
In addition to the great modern classics on childcare, there are countless articles in magazines and newspapers.
Yes. Let me see. Yeah, in addition to the great modern classics on childcare, there are numerous articles, a vast array of articles in magazines and newspapers. So, okay.
With so much unsolicited advice flying about, mom and dad just do not know what to do anymore.
Unsolicited, yes.
Are you asking about the meaning? Yeah.
No. I think you pronounced it in a different way.
Oh.
Solicit. The stress is on solicit, illicit.
Solicit.
Yes.
Solicit.
Yeah. Something which is not wanted or asked for. Advice flying about mom and dad just don't know what to do anymore. Okay, that it means that parents did not ask for those pieces of advice. That's why they were unsolicited.
Yeah.
Okay. So please.
In the end, they do nothing at all.
Yeah, in the end and at the end, please compare.
In the end means at the end of the time of a period of time. But at the end means at the last position. At the end means it refers to the position or let's say a stage of something. But when it comes to in the end, it means it necessarily means refers to a specific period of time, and most of the time is elapsed, and we are at the let's say finish time or.
Not precisely. When we use in the end, we want to come to a conclusion. Usually, and it is more abstract, but at the end it is more concrete. For example, you refer to the end of the paragraph. For example, say refer to the at the end of the paragraph. It is localized. It is spatially oriented. Space, it refers to a space, so it refers to the location. But you cannot say look at the in the end of the paragraph. No, it doesn't make sense. In the end, it means when you want to come to a conclusion, arrive at a conclusion. So in the end means eventually, it means finally, or above all, or That is the difference. They do nothing at all. Okay.
So from early childhood, the kids are in charge, and parents' lives are regulated according to the needs of the offspring. Offspring.
Hmm. They are in charge. It means they are in control, and the parents' lives are regulated or manipulated according to the needs of their offspring. Here, offspring has been used deliberately, by the author to show a kind of resentment, as a matter of fact, because usually it is used for animals.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it is intentionally used by the wise author. I really like him, Alexander. Yes.
When the little deers,
Deers.
yeah, develop. Could you pronounce it again?
Develop.
The last develop.
Yeah.
Develop.
Yes, it is
Develop.
on V. V.
Yeah. Develop. When the little deers develop into teenagers,
Teenager.
they take teenagers.
First, yes.
Teenagers, yeah, they take complete control.
Control.
Mm-hmm.
When the little deers, referring to children, develop into teenagers, they become adolescents. They take complete control. They become so pushy, bossy, overbearing, and unruly, difficult to control.
Yeah.
Okay.
Lacks authority over the years makes adolescent rebellion against parents all the more violent.
Mm-hmm. Lacks or indifferent authority or even ruling or control over the years makes adolescent rebellion or uprising against the parents all the more violent. Yeah. So there is a kind of let's say never-ending argument between the two generations, parents and children.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
If the young people are going to have a party, for instance, parents are asked to leave the house.
If the young people are going to have a party, for instance, parents are asked to leave the house.
Their presence merely spoils the fun. What else can the poor parents do but obey?
Mm-hmm. So they have to obey that. There is no other alternative. Okay.
Children are hardy creatures, far hardier than psychologists. Psychologists. Mm-hmm. Psychologists would have us believe.
Mm-hmm.
And most of them survive the harmful influence of extreme permissiveness, which is the normal permissiveness, which is the normal condition in the modern household.
Okay, please. Children are hardy creatures. Hardy
means strong and healthy and able to bear difficult conditions.
Yeah, resilient. They are resilient creatures, and harder than the psychologists would have us believe. This is a causative structure. Have somebody do something, or get somebody to do something. So which means make somebody do something. Most of the time, survive the harmful influence of extreme permissiveness, which is the normal condition in the modern society. Let me see on that. Household. Yes, household means the members in a family, family members, and the atmosphere of each family. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
But a great many do not.
But
This
a great
this
many do not. A
yeah.
great many of, a great many. So your intonation was not good. But a great many do not. A great many of parents and children. Yeah, and that parents and
Yeah,
children have been omitted. Yes.
exactly.
Hmm.
The spread of juvenile delinquency in our own age is largely due to parental laxity.
Yes. The spread, or let's say widespread of juvenile delinquency, criminal activities committed by the young teenagers in our age is largely or markedly owing to parental laxity or actually lack of control over their children.
Yeah.
That is submissiveness. Okay.
Mother believing that
Yes.
little Johnny can look after himself is not at home when he returns from school. So little Johnny roams the streets.
Hmm. Streets. So
Streets.
mother believing that little Johnny refers to a figurative, child, can look after or take care of himself, is not at home when he returns from school. So little Johnny roams the streets, means wander, without any particular purpose, and he may be subject to many threats.
Oh,
Hmm.
it
Yeah,
means
drug dealing, for example, dealers and some other people.
yeah,
There are a lot of dangers uh, just in ambush.
yeah.
Okay.
The dividing line between permissiveness and sheer negligence is very fine indeed.
Yeah, here fine means
Uh, very, huh? Or well,
no, it doesn't make sense. Since delicate,
oh, fine.
tiny, delicate, tiny, and somehow subtle.
Oh,
Hmm. It means that the difference, dividing line means difference or distinction between permissiveness and sheer negligence is very inconsiderable and also difficult to notice. Say that the line, dividing line between love and hate is so delicate.
yeah.
Mhm. Okay.
So fine here means delicate, yeah.
Yes,
Or
delicate and tiny. Mhm.
uh-huh.
Mhm.
Okay. This cycle this the psychological
No.
the psychologists
Mhm.
have much to answer for.
Yes, because it is their problem. It is the problem that they have caused or inflicted. Mm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
They should keep their mouth shut and let parents get on with the job.
Yeah, that is so strong, by the way.
Okay. And if children are knocked about a little bit in the process, it may not really matter too much.
Yeah. So in this process, if they just, if the process turns out to be rather uneasy for them or unsmooth or uneven, doesn't matter. They learn something and they do not just create or spoil your children. This is the message that is intended.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, at least, at least this will help them to develop, yeah, develop
Right.
vigorous views of their own and give them something positive to react against.
Yes. So Minimally, this will help them to develop vigorous, strong views, robust views of their own, and give them something positive to react against. So the children will learn some valuable lessons that are helpful and productive for their future.
And perhaps there is some truth in the idea that children who have had it surfeit, surfeit of happiness in their childhood emerge like stodgy puddings and fail to make a success of life.
That's right. And I
Yeah.
agree with this, with the general concept, without those exceptions,